Hi, hope you're having a great day. You're watching Your Entertainment, and for this video, I'm going to cover the streaming wars and how they're really heating up between Netflix versus Disney Plus. How? Well, Netflix just got the second quarterly report, and they reported how much subscribers growth they had in the second quarter, as well as future plans like adding video games to the streaming service, which is crazy, as well as their top content for this second quarter. So we'll definitely go over all of that. And then Disney Plus is creating their own moves in the streaming war, with them building a mini animation studio for the MCU to create more projects like What If for Disney Plus, as well as they just renewed Loki for a second season, which marks the first MCU show to get a second season. So definitely stay tuned for the coverage of all of that, as well as for the streaming charts, because the streaming charts are starting to look a lot more even than they did a couple months ago. So we'll definitely go over all that, and just so you can know and be informed in this stream wars. So let's get started. Let's start with the success that Disney Plus is having right now. How? Well, with Loki. Obviously, Loki has been a massive hit, and this shows in the Nielsen ratings. The Nielsen ratings are about 1 week behind, and they measure, 1 month behind, my bad. And they measure a bunch of streaming services, from streaming shows to streaming movies, and they measure by minutes to chart it down on their charts. And Loki got #1 on just its second episode. Like I said, they're a month behind, and they got #1 on just their second episode, and this is the fastest any Disney Plus show, including The Mandalorian, WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier. All the shows that they never got nowhere near as fast to #1 as Loki did in the Nielsen ratings, with 886 million minutes watched with just its second episode. This beats the second place by a long shot, which was Lucifer, with 703 million minutes watched. That's a huge margin. That's almost 180 million more minutes watched, which is huge. So yeah, definitely you can see that Loki is becoming a huge hit. It's a huge hit, and this is just the second episode. It's only going to grow from there. So I can't wait to see the streaming charts get refreshed and show us what the next episode gets and the next episode gets, and it's just going to be huge and massive. With that, Loki was also beat WandaVision and the Falcon and Winter Soldier to be the most streamed finale out of any show in Disney Plus. As reported by Snyder TV, which measures smart TVs, about 2.5 million people watched Loki on a 5-day window. So from the Wednesday that it debuted to the Sunday of that week, 2.5 million people watched Loki. With the same 5-day window, WandaVision was watched by 1.4 million people on its finale, which is nowhere near. That's 1.1 million less. And the Falcon and Winter Soldier was watched by 1.7 million people with the same window, which, as you can see, that's also almost 1 million less than the amount of people that watched Loki. So Loki's finale was huge, and this is just a huge win for Marvel and the MCU, as well as for Disney Plus. It is also interesting to note that Loki is the first MCU show to get renewed for a second season, which is moving into new territory for the MCU. However, that's not moving into new territory for Disney Plus. Disney Plus has renewed another super massive show in the past, which was The Mandalorian. Which, if you want to see the example, The Mandalorian Season 1 was really big, but The Mandalorian Season 2 just grew to a whole different scope. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen with Loki. Loki Season 1 was really big, but I think Loki Season 2 is going to be even bigger. Especially since the Loki Season 2 seems to be even bigger in scope itself, which definitely will help increase the amount of people that watch it. Especially by how many consequences Loki Season 1 has towards MCU. I think this definitely is going to increase the popularity of Loki going forward, especially for Season 2. And it really helps the streaming service a lot. Like, wow. This is a huge move for Disney and a huge move for the MCU. And it's definitely going to keep people subscribed and get new people to get subscribed. So, definitely a huge win for Disney Plus. And looking at the next one, top 10, it will also be interesting to see if Disney Plus can get 2 series in the top 10 at the same time. They usually can't. They only have one. It's usually just like one. The main show is usually like WandaVision, or like Falcon and Soldier, or like The Mandalorian. So it'll be really interesting to see if they can get 2 shows. And I think that they could, with Monsters at Work debuting at the same time as Loki, and it's probably going to get in the Nielsen ratings soon. And if they can both be at the same time, that will also be a huge win for Disney Plus, getting 2 shows at the same time. And then if they keep adding more and more shows, I think it could get to a point where they can really start dominating that and really give competition to Netflix. If you want to know whether you should check out Monsters at Work or not, then go ahead and check out my video right here where I tell you, is it worth to check out Monsters at Work. I definitely think that's going to help you make a decision whether you should check it out or not. And I would definitely think it's worth to check out this video. So definitely make sure to check it out, and then you can make your decision whether you would check out this show or not. So yeah, click it. I think you'll enjoy it. Okay, looking at the movie side of the streaming charts, Disney has 4 out of the 10 movies in the streaming charts, which actually means that it's competing really strongly against Netflix with movies like Cruella, which was for Premier Access, and it's doing pretty strong, not super strong, but it's doing pretty strong. And movies like Moana, which I can't believe Moana is still in the top 10. That's incredible, and it definitely explains why Moana will get her own Disney Plus show spinoff. So I definitely think it's going to be super big whenever that show happens as well, and I can't wait to see how this affects streaming wars. And then we also see Raya and the Last Dragon, which is third place in the Nielsen ratings for movies, which is huge. This has been months after its debut on Disney Plus, and just like 3 weeks after it became free on Disney Plus. So it's huge that it's still number 3, and I think that definitely means that it might get the spin-off just like Moana did on Disney Plus. Because the sequel has not been announced, and I did make a video, if you want to check that video out, on whether there will be a Raya and the Last Dragon 2, or maybe even a show, which I definitely should check it out. You'll see a whole breakdown of the box office and streaming and all that, if you really want to know for sure. Definitely go check it out so you can measure the success of this. But I did say that maybe Disney was waiting to see how it did on Disney Plus for free to know if they will make a sequel or a show or just not continue it. And I think with these numbers, I think it might definitely get a show for sure. I think that'll be incredible. And I think I would definitely watch a Raya and the Last Dragon show. When you watch a Raya and the Last Dragon show, I would definitely watch a Raya and the Last Dragon show. I think it would be really fun. Moving on to the next movie that Disney Plus has, that was Luca. On its debut week, like I said, this is like a month behind. On its debut week, Luca was number 1 with 1,573,000,000 minutes watched, which is really, really strong. It's not as strong as Soul's 1,630,000,000 minutes watched, but it doesn't matter because this number is really big, and I think it's really making Netflix shake right now because wow, this movie's numbers are really strong, making me believe that maybe Pixar movies might still come out on Disney Plus because they keep being a huge hits for Disney Plus and they keep people subscribed and get new subscribers. Or like I said in one of my previous videos, Disney might keep doing Premier Access with Pixar movies since they seem to be really popular on Disney Plus, like really, really popular. We'll see for sure, but Disney is definitely starting to be Netflix movies wise. Netflix is already trying to deal with how much Disney Plus is really competing with it in the movies section, especially since Disney Plus might actually end up beating Netflix there. And they're already trying to deal with this with a new movie every week, which that strategy seems to have mixed results with most movies failing, but very occasionally some movies end up being really, really big hits, like The Mitchells vs. the Machines, which is still in the Nielsen ratings months after its release, and which is huge, and it ended up being a top 10 most streamed things for Netflix in the second quarter, beating a lot of shows, which is crazy. And it is the biggest animated movie ever for Netflix, so there's that. I think they might want to greenlight a sequel or something because wow, that did really, really good. Or like another movie which completely blew away expectations, that being Army of the Dead by Zack Snyder, beating all shows and movies that came out in the second quarter, getting #1 spot for the most streamed thing in Netflix in the second quarter, which is huge. Like wow, I can definitely see why this movie is getting a prequel and a spin-off series because this movie did amazing in streaming. Like wow, Netflix really got a huge win here, and there's no surprise that they also wanted to keep working with Zack Snyder, and working with Zack Snyder they are. Since actually I was editing this video and so this is added on and not actually part of the video of the original concept, but a news broke out like around 2 hours. Hollywood Reporter reported that Zack Snyder had just filmed a new deal with Netflix for the First Look deal. So what is this deal? Well, this deal is like a deal that any ideas for any projects that you have, you must show that company, in this case Netflix. If Zack Snyder has any idea for a movie that he wants to do, he has to show Netflix that idea first. And then if they like it, they can do it. If they don't like it, Zack Snyder can go to other companies to show their idea. But they have to show Netflix first. So that's the deal that Netflix just got with Zack Snyder for the next 2 years, meaning that Zack Snyder and Netflix will be working a lot more closely for the next couple of years, which I'm very excited about. Clearly, Zack Snyder really liked the experience with Army of the Dead, especially after the toxic set environment of the Snyder Cut, or the Justice League. My bad. And clearly, Zack Snyder said that he loved making Army of the Dead. It was super fun, super free, and clearly he loved it so much that now he's making Rebel Moon. And this could lead to the possibility of making Army of the Dead 2. Clearly, there was enough setup for an Army of the Dead 2, and clearly there's enough success here to make an Army of the Dead 2. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's going to be after Rebel Moon. And after that, I'm sure there'll be at least one more Zack Snyder project before this contract expires, which I'm very excited for. I think Zack Snyder is a great director. I love his movies up for the most part. I love the Snyder Cut. I liked Army of the Dead. I didn't love it, but I liked it. And I'm really excited to see Rebel Moon, and I'm really excited to see his future projects with Netflix. So yeah, I'm definitely very hyped for that, and I think this will bring a lot of subscribers in to Netflix, especially knowing how big Zack Snyder is, especially looking at the fan campaigns like Restore the Snyderverse, which literally beat Endgame's record for the most tweets on Restore the Snyderverse, 1.5 million tweets, which is really crazy. So clearly Zack Snyder has a huge fandom that clearly will follow him through Netflix, and clearly Netflix saw that with Army of the Dead. So definitely, I think this is a huge win for both Zack Snyder and Netflix, and this will definitely help fight other streaming companies like Disney, but this is specifically a blow to HBO Max. So yeah. Okay, now going back to the original video, I don't know what it is, but let's go. Yeah, those are huge wins for Netflix, and I'm expecting them to have another huge win with the movie between Gal Gadot, Ryan Reynolds, and The Rock. I think that will also be a huge hit, and we'll see what other huge hits on the movie sites they have. None of the other ones seems to be being like really big, except for these. So we'll see, but hopefully it's another surprise one in there for Netflix to really start competing against Disney Plus. Okay, now going back to Disney Plus, they got Black Widow for Premier Access, which made $60 million and was bigger than the Mitchells vs. the Machines opening weekend on the streaming service, which is huge. Like for it to do $60 million and beat the Mitchells vs. the Machines, that is huge for Disney Plus. And you can really see that Disney is really trying to dominate the movie side in this fight. And I think that I think it will. I think at the end of the day, Disney Plus will dominate the movie side against Netflix. Sadly for Netflix, but really good for Disney Plus. Especially since a lot of kids are in Disney Plus and they just rewatch a lot of animated movies. I think that would definitely happen. Plus, as more movies start coming out, I think that they will also dominate. Especially once they become free on Disney Plus, they will really dominate as well. So definitely, I think that Netflix is having trouble here, and they really need to get back on it with bigger movies. Even if they don't release them every week, I think they need bigger movies overall. Okay, moving on to what Netflix reported for their second quarter. They reported that they only got 1.5 million new subscribers, which is the lowest amount of new subscribers they've ever gotten for a quarter of report of Netflix, ever. And they even lost some subscribers in the US and Canada, which is really, really bad. I think Netflix is starting to get to a point where they're in trouble. I think the streaming wars are definitely affecting them, and I think some people are just like, okay, I'd rather get this streaming service over Netflix. Maybe HBO Max, maybe HBO Max because of the day and date premieres, or maybe Disney Plus because of the MCU shows, which have proven to be huge hits, and maybe Pixar movies, or whatever the reason is. I think that Disney Plus is really starting to compete against Netflix, and people are starting to switch, which is something that we hadn't seen yet. But now we're starting to see that Netflix is starting to lose subscribers, and people are starting to switch to probably different this streaming services, probably Disney Plus being the most probable. So what is Netflix doing to resolve this? Well, they're looking at different audience. They're looking to call attention to a different audience, and that is gamers. How? Well, Netflix will add games to their streaming service on 2022, and they will be free and no extra cost to subscribers. I wonder if it matters to what plan you have. I wonder if it matters like the most expensive plan, the $14 plan, or the $8 plan. I don't know yet. We don't know yet, but we know that it won't be charged any extra. And we also know that they're going to start on mobile devices. Their games are going to be available in any mobile device, whether that's phone, tablet, so on, so on. You can play Netflix games there, which I think is pretty big. And then they might expand to other devices like smart TVs. So yeah, that's pretty big. That's a pretty big move for Netflix. Some of you might be saying like, we can just play games on our own, and there's a bunch of good games that are free, and we can just do that, especially on mobile, where there's a bunch of good games that are free. You don't need Netflix there. However, if Netflix could get a breakout game that everybody's playing, then this could really drive up subscribers, the subscriber count for Netflix, and I think that would be huge. It could be a game changer for Netflix. If they can get at least one breakout game, it will be huge for Netflix. If they can't get a breakout game, if they're just meh, then it's gonna be money wasted. I think nobody's gonna end up playing them if they're just meh. They have to be really big breakout hits. So it's a really risky move for Netflix, but I think it can be really worth it, or I think it can be really disappointing. we'll see, but they will start in 2022, so we don't have to wait that long. It's actually pretty close. It's halfway, 6 months, halfway through a year, and I think we'll see. The first game definitely has to impress. If the first game doesn't impress, the rest of the games will have already something against them. So we'll see. Very hyped to see what they come up with, though. Very hyped. But this is what Netflix is doing to fight back, which could, like I said, work very well. But then Disney punches back with Marvel's mini animation studio for more projects like What If, and they are coming out this year. And most likely, all those animated projects will come out on Disney Plus, obviously, giving even more content for Disney Plus, which is crucial. I think Disney Plus is really building out their catalog, which is something that they didn't have before, and now they're really starting to build it. And we also see that animation is working very well for Disney Plus, with almost the whole trending section being animated shows. Now pair that with the biggest brand right now, which is the MCU, and you're gonna get really big hit shows. Especially since this show seems to be calling different audiences. They call the hardcore fans for sure, which you've seen how big those shows have gotten because of the hardcore MCU fans with Loki, WandaVision, and Falcon Winter Soldier. And I think that this show would definitely have that support. But then I think it'll also have like just small kids that think, oh, that show looks cool. As you can see, like in the trending section, Mickey Mouse Clubhouse is always in the top 5, top 10. So definitely, kids might just be like, oh, that show looks cool, let's watch that. And I think overall, over time, it might be the most streamed MCU show. I don't think it'll be the most streamed MCU show as it debuts, but I think over time, as kids just watch it, over time, like, oh, that looks cool, let's watch it. Just kids that watch cartoons, I think it can get really big because of that. And I also think that it can get really big because how big the What If trailer was. Like, it was breaking the internet, like, wow. So I definitely believe that these MCU animated shows are going to be huge. In fact, What If is already rumored to have multiple seasons, which only, like I said earlier, makes the show even bigger. So we'll see. I really hope that these shows are really good because the trailer looked awesome for What If, and I just can't wait for that. So we're really starting to see Disney going all out with Netflix, with a whole new animation studio for MCU shows, to their movies dominating the charts, to renewing their most popular show for a second season, which is huge. Like, renewing their most popular show for a second season is something going to get even bigger and bring just so much subscribers in, causing Netflix to have to innovate with games in their service, which we'll see how that goes. It can, like I said, it can be really risky, but it can really pay off, or it can really be embarrassing. Who do you think will win this streaming war? Tell me down below in the comments. As well as tell me which of these things that the streaming service is doing excites you the most. Are you most excited for the games on Netflix? Are you excited for Loki Season 2? Are you excited for the mini animation studio that the MCU now has? So on and so on. Just tell me down below. I'm really curious to hear what people get excited about. And I'm really curious to know who you're rooting for, Netflix or Disney Plus. So just tell me down below. I'm just really curious. And I'll for sure read them and respond. Also, please leave a like. It took a while to get this video together, like a pretty long time. So a like would definitely for sure help, as well as if you enjoyed this video, or if you find it informative, please leave a like. It would just be so nice from you. And also subscribe for more content like this. For example, I'm working on a video like this for between HBO Max and Disney Plus, like a versus between them. So subscribe so you don't miss that, as well as I have a lot more content, especially Marvel and DC. I'll probably link some right here just so you can know if you want to check them out or not. But definitely make sure to subscribe. I think you'll really enjoy my content if you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day. And this is your entertainment out.